Hello everybody, Mr. Pilgrim here, coming at you with the next video in our Platinum Trophy Guide for Dark Souls 3. In today's video we have Archdragon Peak, which is also known as probably the second most known optional area in the game. As for what it holds is quite interesting for sure, but to get started we will simply come and deal with the first thing in our way that is related to getting trophies, and that is going to be the boss. There's two bosses in this very specific side area here. First one is pretty easy, as all it is just simply maneuvering around a map. So if you simply follow the path that I take, slowly of course, now that we have a chance to openly maneuver throughout the area. This is one of those areas that taking time to let your stamina refill is really wise, and healing in these nice little in-between areas is good. But following the path around, you will eventually have this one guy who will try and stab at you, so just be careful. When you get to this area, you'll want to make sure that you actually have enough stamina to avoid dying like I have, but eventually you'll make it to that back area and there's a ladder, which I'm going to skip to, of course. Alright, but once you make it past all the enemies, you should be able to come over here to this little ladder, climb up, chill here for a moment while he breathes fire at you. Coming over here, you'll drop down. Do be careful, as you can die right here if you don't do it properly, of course. You'll want to wait to a very specific moment and then do a plunging attack, and you will one-shot the boss. If you miss, you will instantly die, even if you have a cat ring or spook active. So just be wary of that, and you will get the dragon headstone and will be instantly teleported to the next bonfire. As you'll see right here. And we can finally get that bonfire lit and chill at. Now don't forget to go back and level up your Estus fully and burn your last remaining undead bone shirt, as you see I have right here and just forgot to do. Alright, so from here basically we're just gonna run up and follow the path I take, as this is one of those areas that it's more or less best just to simply get through, and then once you're done, go back and safely go through, as most of these enemies are quite annoying. But are quite easy to get around. As you'll see, easily have no effort dealing with them, and they don't really chase you for long. There's that. Come over here, we can grab this chest of upgrade materials, which is really nice. I definitely recommend having a shield up for this very specific area, as these little Titanite bastards are not fun. And we're going to run past this other little dragon, hopefully. And we'll make our way up here. Do note they will follow you, so just be wary of that. So now we're safe in here. What I first recommend doing is running around and taking care of this sorcerer lady person. That'll stop her from summoning any extra and unwanted it'll stop her from summoning any more NPCs to fight you, basically. So fighting this very fit individual. We can now come over here and get our next bonfire. Now I'm actually going to head back and spend some of my souls and stuff. So see y'all when I'm back here. Alright, so from here we're basically just going to get the next boss out of the way. And that is going to be probably the second hardest boss in the base game to anybody. So if you come over here and pull this lever, you'll activate Storm Rain mode. As you'll see, it's now quite stormy. So from here, you can easily just put on whatever rings you want. Honestly, any of them is good. One that increases probably the Dex ring is probably going to be nice for now. Just because our weapons already scaled the Dex. So this is going to be a two-part boss fight. First part is going to be this dragon here. As you'll see, they are quite annoying with how they have the camera angle for this boss fight. As trying to fight both of these things is quite annoying. But if you hit the head enough times, you can actually get a riposte, dealing a lot of damage, almost practically killing it. But once you do, you'll enter phase 2, which is probably the more harder of the phases. This is one where having a bunch of stamina is always really good. As you'll see, this guy does a lot of actual damage, and he's got good range. So being able to heal when you can is really nice. This is a good attack to try and heal through. As you can see, we're easily getting our butts handed to us. But we're almost done. Almost there. Dang, we almost had him. We were one hit away. But that is basically the Nameless King. I'm still going to defeat him and show you the end. But yeah, he's a pretty tough fight if you don't manage your stamina properly and get careless and get two-shotted sometimes. And as you can see, he's a much easier fight once you get into the practice of fighting him. We'll give him that respect. I'm sorry, I was going to say disrespect. But once the boss is said and done, the area will go back to being normal. And we can grab another bonfire. Alright, so from here, there's a couple items we can grab, as this area basically just leads back to the other area. So the first thing we can grab is a Titanite slab, which is pretty cool. I do believe there's an item on the right somewhere. This is a pretty barren area, as there's only a few items, as you can see. So over here, we'll get the Dragon Slayer helm or Ornstein's armor set. Come over here and grab the Dragon Slayer spear. Now, while we're over here, we might as well come and do some things. So while we're here, we're going to take care of this summoner. And then if we come over here, we can come and fight this Drake Blood Knight. Come on. And just like that. Now, if you actually go back to where you get the Path of the Dragon emote after you defeat that Drake Blood Knight, you can get his armor set for free. Now, while we're here, we're going to do the Path of the Dragon right here in front of this statue. And it'll get us the Calamity Ring, which will basically double the overall damage we take. So now we're going to just coiled sword back to the bonfire. Alright, so from this bonfire, if we actually come back over this way, we can put our cat ring back on. Take care of this little summoner real quick. Maybe it's a chance to drop her staff, as having that staff equipped actually gives you more souls, which is pretty cool. So if we come over here, we'll have this weird little Titanite rock boy get in our way. Grab some twinkling Titanite. And if we come up here, we'll find a very familiar foe that if you choose to fight them, you'll get another Titanite slab, and that'll be the Havel monster right there, as he's just slayed his prey. But what we're interested in is getting, a miracle. Now, also defeating him, getting the slab, you'll then be able to go back to Farron Keep where you fought the Stray Demon, and you will find his armor set on a new corpse that has appeared. But for us, if we come over here, we'll drop down right here. If we swing around over here, we'll find this dude who's just been chilling, and we'll find this corpse with great magic barrier. So we'll just go back to the bonfire. Alright, so the last thing that we need to do is in this little side area here. And it's more or less going to be kind of a suicide-y run, as we're just trying to grab an item and then get out. Which it'll be right over here in this area. Do be careful though. And it's just to grab those ashes, and we're actually going to head back to Firelink Shrine. Alright, so when we're here in Firelink Shrine, the first thing I recommend that you do is come and talk to Ludolith. Give him the transposing kiln if you haven't already. Talk to him. I don't think he gives you anything, but here is the main thing that we're going to be worrying about, and that is going to be rings and spells. So as you'll notice, we have one thing that's a little bit annoying, and that is the Havel's ring, which is from the Stray Demon found in Farron Keep. That one gives you a ring and a Pyromancy Boulder Heave. But for the sake of things, we're going to make the Boulder Heave first. And basically just every other spell that you can. As for the most part, you should be able to make all of these without any problems. Downside though is you can't make the Havel's ring, but we also can make Gundir's prisoner chain, which is really nice. So as of now, if there's any leftover weapons that you want to make, by all means go ahead and make those. Some of these can be really good, like the Dragon Slayer Great Axe is a really good one. Downside, you need 40 strength just to use it. I'm going to make that. The Demon's Great Axe is also a really good one. So if you have that one, it's not too bad, and it's less requirement than what most people would expect for that. It's probably like the second highest overall like attack power damage just from the stat alone, not actual DPS wise. But so from here, there's a couple things that you can do quest wise, which I highly recommend you do. And of course, we're going to remember to burn our undead bone shard to get that trophy. Come talk to her and give her the ash. Now the reason why we picked up that ash is because it allows us to infinitely buy chunks, twinkling titanite, and titanite scales. Of course, albeit expensive, you can now buy those. And of course, like always, if you haven't bought anything that you think you might need, come to her. As you can see, we have a wide variety of armor sets we can now buy, like Cirrus's and a bunch of others. We can get Morn's too. If you actually head back to where Irina is first found in the undead settlement, you can find his weapon near her cell, as he is back there, so on and so on. As you can see, we've got quite a few armor sets we can buy now. But make sure as well that you've given Orbeck all the stuff before he leaves, and bought all his sorceries, and talk to him. Make sure you've given Cornix all of his tomes that he can accept. And most importantly, make sure that you give Carla all of the appropriate tomes to be able to learn all of her stuff. And there will be a few side things that I'll go over before we get to the end, which will be right after that. So if you want to just make sure that yours match up with mine, by all means go ahead. And then last but not least, don't forget about buying everything from Irina, including her ring. As you'll see, after a certain point in time, she will move to the little side area and become an actual firekeeper, so do remember that. Another thing to talk about before we continue is infusions, as you'll need to at least do all 15 infusions. You should have at least one of these by the end. One thing I highly recommend is coming over to Grey Rat, and buying one of his cheapest items, which would be the longsword. If you buy that, then basically save your game. So, you know, buy 14 of them, so 14,000, you know. So once you've bought enough, also come and make sure that you've gotten everything from Yuria. So basically, the Launder Braille Divine Tome, make sure you have at least all of these spells. You don't need the Dark Hand, but make sure you also grab these rings. You should have a couple of rings of sacrifice by this point in the game. Now you can actually give her a specific set of ashes that'll allow you to get a unique sword, and that is Orbeck's, as you'll find it in the Grand Archives, which I will show you where it's located at now, which will be more towards the top of the Grand Archives. So yeah, I'll just go over that. So if you'll actually fast travel to first Grand Archives, and then we're going to take the elevator right next to the bonfire up, and then backtrack to the area with the little scholars, you'll find his corpse. I almost forgot to mention though that if you're trying to do a bunch of infusions and you're not wanting to waste the infusions but still get the trophy, you can use the similar tactic of how I'm going to tell you how to get all of the endings in a single playthrough to save you some time. So on top of making sure that you have, you know, the Lord Souls, as you'll see right here, you make sure when you have the Eyes of the Firekeeper from the Untended Graves and the Firekeeper's Soul, pretty much. But as you'll see, if we come back this way, make sure you have your sword fragment just ready to go. Makes it so much easier, you know. If you want to dip your head, you can. But we'll take the shortcut that we had made right here. But as you'll see, you'll find the corpse right here, which you can then either give to the Firekeeper or give to Uria, and you'll get a new item. Alright, so another thing that I'm going to mention and talk about is a optional little, well, not optional, but basically if you go to the Church of Yorshka, we can save ourselves some time. So from here, if we actually head back out the way we come, or came, I should say, we'll backtrack down the streets. And you'll make your way over here to this little area that has a Titanite lizard. And you'll see if you hit this railing, it'll reveal a hidden little path that'll lead down. There's nothing of worth grabbing of note, but if you come down here, get rid of this guy so he doesn't come and bother us. If you drop down here, you'll find this evangelist who is just being a little weirdo. But defeating her will give you this specific miracle, and you can grab a tree branch. Now we can head back. Now, one thing I do recommend that you do while you have the option to do it is make sure that you have at least a single pale tongue. You'll find at least three of these in a single playthrough. So from here, make sure that, you know, go give Uria Orbex ashes, as she's already wary of him.
Speak. As it should, it is law.
And she'll give you the Morian Blade. Morian Blade is a really good offhand weapon, as it'll increase damage, I believe, on more damage whenever someone is stunned and you're like riposting them. It'll increase the damage you do. Kind of lost my train of thought. That's what I was going to talk about next. Okay. So if we head back to Rosaria's bedchambers, we can continue a quest line and end up getting another miracle in the process. So we simply come in here, we'll find this maggot that's been transformed. But come and talk to Rosaria and offer her just a single pale tongue, as doing so will further a quest line You don't have to have the Covenant actually here, or as your main squeeze. As you'll see, I'm still a Sunborough. But if we come back here, we could talk to Leonard. Just exhaust all of his dialogue. And then eventually, you can just go back to Firelink and then come back here. I do believe. Yeah. So you'll have to leave and then come back. So I'll see you when we come back to here. Alright, so now once you come back, you'll notice that something's not right with Rosaria. If you'll examine her corpse, you can see, you can pillage the remains, and you'll find a black Eye Orb. So if we go ahead and equip that, we can now head over to Aldrich. Oh my god. It's gonna kill me. Aldrich, Devourer of Gods Bonfire in Anor Londo. So from here in Anor Londo, you'll just want to head up. Make sure that you have the Eye Orb equipped. And then head into the bedchamber here. You'll feel it quiver, just a little weird. But if you use it, you'll be good, and you'll invade into another world.
Expected to see you, couldn't, and now you want to.
So come in here and disrespect the mad boy.
I, Leonard, swear so upon my vows to the goddess. No one will despoil
Show him what
us.
disrespect means.
Certainly no priest wrapped in human skin. Blessed Rosaria.
And we'll disrespect him. And once you're done, you'll have the Soul of Rosaria, Crescent Moon Sword, and the Silver Mask. Now, the reason why I say to do this once you're basically at the very end of the game and have done most of the quest lines is it'll ensure that you don't mess anything up that's super major as of this point. So now you can head back to the bonfire. So now that we have that, we can use that soul that we just obtained from Rosaria and come to Ludolith and get a brand new miracle called Bountiful Sunlight. It's one of the weirder quests that you have to do to get a miracle, but it is what it is. So as of now, from here, the last thing to do, I don't know why I did what I did, is simply place all of the lords on their thrones. So as you'll see, you'll come down. It's much easier to do that. Come down the right side, grab these two for the Abyss Watchers and Yorm, I believe. Yeah, for Yorm. And then head over to the other side and then place Aldrich. So from here, the Firekeeper will now move to the center. And if you kneel at the bonfire, you have a cool little cutscene. and you'll be transported like 5,000 years into the future. So basically all that you can do here is come outside, as there's nothing in the side areas to do, and you simply just activate this bonfire. And you can now get this other bonfire. So from here, I actually recommend that you head back to Firelink Shrine and set up what we're going to do to get all 3 endings. Okay, so from here in Firelink Shrine, all you simply want to do is just quit out and fully close the game. Now, if you have a USB, or if you're on PlayStation, more or less is what this is in regards to, you can upload the save via PlayStation Plus onto a cloud. But if you don't and you happen to have a USB to plug into your PS4 and copy the save onto, you can do so. You can also use that to get all of the weapon infusions, but then keep all of the specific gems, you know, that way in case you find a really good weapon that a gem matches well with, there you go. So in doing so, right here, the main reason why I say to do it while you're here at Firelink Shrine is simply because there's a couple of endings that are related to the Firekeeper. And I'll talk about it now.
For the Lords of Link.
The first one is in regards to giving her the eyes of a Firekeeper. In doing so, as well as giving her the Firekeeper soul and then cleansing yourself, you will then be able to get the dark ending to where you fully let the fire fade. Now, upon doing so, that's one trophy. Now, another one that you can do is simply just give her the Firekeeper soul and cleanse yourself. This will then piss off Yuria and stuff like that, so you won't be able to summon her and all that for that ending. And then that'll give you the basic linking the fire ending. So if you trying to get those, that's how you do that. You know, so it'll require at least 3 different times of defeating this final boss, which is quite annoying. But from there, you'll then be able to actually do probably the most annoying ending, which is the Dark Lord ending, which is quite different to just letting the fire fade. And that is the ending that we're going to be doing, which is why we have Yuria and have been following that step so closely, as having her help us is what gets you the ending, which I will now go and do after leveling up my vigor, or sorry, vitality, just a little bit. So now we can maybe hopefully have a better armor set, just like so. And once again, we'll increase our dexterity via the ring. And we can now head to the actual final boss of the game, which is the Soul of Cinder. Alright, so from the kiln to the first flame, you want to make sure you're fully prepared to do this, as you know, once it's done, then you'll get that one ending. You'll find the Londor Pale Shade summon sign right here, but I think having just one summon is better than the 2. Could be wrong, of course, but up here you'll find Yuria of Londor, so you can summon her. But the upside, though, to beating the final boss is it doesn't just automatically put you into New Game Plus. So if you miss anything that is optional to grab, then you can do that. So from here, we're going to take on the final boss of Dark Souls 3, the Soul of Cinder, and show him what's what. Do note that he actually has movesets from a bunch of different classes. You can stagger him. As you'll see, he'll also change weapons. And he'll use spells, pyromancies, sorceries, all kinds of stuff. But as you can see, it's a pretty easy boss fight, at least for now. Once you defeat him in the first form, you'll want to back off, heal up if need be, make sure you get plenty of distance, that way his one attack does not affect you. Now when he goes into that stance, you'll want to just back off. Getting hit will deal a lot of damage to you as he'll combo you basically. But do note in this second form, he actually has less HP than in the first one. Increasing your fire defense is always pretty good. Okay, for some reason I'm just not connecting any of my shots. But as you'll see, we'll just let him get up, beat his ass. But now that he's gone into big boy stance mode, you'll let Yuria take most of the hits, and we can now go in and be done with that pretty easily. He's not too terrible of a boss fight, it's just once you're in the second phase, some of those combos can really defeat you. So you'll get the Souls of a Lord. Now from here, if you go and interact with the boss, I believe, I think you can leave technically. Not quite remembering this ending. Yeah, okay. So yeah, if you go and link the fire, make sure that you have the 8 dark sigils and that you're fully hollowed, and you will get the Dark Lord ending.
Gracious Lord, make none whole.
But once that is done, and you will be asked if you want to begin your second journey. If you say no, you can also initiate it from the bonfire in Firelink Shrine. Huzzah! As you'll see right here, begin Journey 2. Now, one last thing I'll talk about is while you are here, if you come up to Ludolith, you'll be able to grab another ring that might be missable. The Skull Ring. You can still transpose stuff via the kiln that you gave him. So, this has been Mr. Pilgrim, and we are not fully done yet with Dark Souls 3. We've probably got at least 2 more videos to go through. But hopefully this has been helpful in helping you get most of the basic trophies and get through the game fairly easily using the Sellsword Twin Blades and stuff like that. And helping you get all of the endings so far. Now, if you really want to, you're probably going to have to at least beat the game one more time and almost make it all the way to the end anyways, just because of the rings and stuff like that. But yeah, this has been Mr. Pilgrim, and I'll see you all in the next one.